how they invested in their service culture at Airbnb. And I have some fun facts about our speakers. So Laurent has traveled to almost 100 countries in less than 10 years between 2000 and 2008 and had 2 to 3 passports a year and was only at home 1 weekend a quarter. So maybe that's just the culture at Airbnb, traveling. And Chris is made of rubber. He has fallen down the side of a mountain, been hit by a car, and has never broken a bone. So please welcome to the stage Laurent and Chris.
Good morning. So Laurent and I want to take you through our journey at Airbnb, trying to take Jira Service Desk and transforming it into Latitude. When you guys are working in your companies and you're thinking about rolling out a self-service tool, you need to make sure that you're thinking about the culture and values of your company and how you can incorporate that into the platform that you build. And our journey started with our core values. Our mission is to create a world so that anyone can belong anywhere. And we have these 4 core values. I won't read through all the text, you guys can read this, but it's about being a good host, listening, being empathetic, and understanding your customers, being a serial entrepreneur, thinking outside the box, pushing yourself, championing the mission, making sure that you're prioritizing what's important to the company, and embracing the venture. Making sure that what you're doing is really going to have a big impact on the company and where you're going. When I started at Airbnb about 2 years ago, the support landscape was really bleak. If I could have put like crows and hawks, circling around above me, that's kind of the way we felt. You're kind of on your own. You had 50 different email addresses to get support. You had people's names who had already left the company to go get help. We had content in multiple locations, in wikis, in Google Drive, in Box, most of it out of date, and nobody trusted the information. We didn't have a centralized place to go get all this information. And in my lifetime, I've kind of done this over and over and over again. And every company is unique. But we had a scale problem at Airbnb, probably like most of you. Your companies are growing really fast. You need information. You need to be able to onboard 50, 60, 100 people every week. And that's kind of where we are right now. We're between 50 and 75 people a week that we're onboarding at the company. And so we had to come up with something that would improve the user experience. And so I'm going to hand this over to Laurent to talk about our journey from taking Jira Service Desk to Latitude.
Thank you, Chris. I thought we were here for singing and dancing.
Later.
Okay, good morning, everybody. So yes, I will take you to our journey and what we've achieved with Jira Service Desk, which I'm going to call Latitude, because everybody has Jira Service Desk, but nobody has Latitude. So, and we talk about that a little bit later. So what I'm going to talk about is the 3 major steps we've been through, which is before, during, and after. And to be focused on the before, as you can see here, there is few major steps that you need to take in consideration, like what about your knowledge base, which is crucial in the strategy that you have to put in place to implement Latitude in terms of gaining time, gaining money. I'm going to talk about that a little bit better later. Sorry. Organize. Yes, we need to organize our project. We need to have a project plan. Communication. Communication is strategic and very important when you have a project like that. Business needs. What are your business needs? What do you want to achieve with Latitude? Where do you want to go? And this is also something that I'm going to talk to you in detail. Plan. What is your plan? To deploy Latitude, again, Jira Service Desk, but that's the last time that I'm going to mention that. And stakeholders. Who are your stakeholders? So with Chris, we've identified 2 kinds of stakeholders, the regular stakeholders that we basically we're meeting like every week, and we have also what we call VIP stakeholders, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later as well. So the first thing that I want to share with you about the implementation of Latitude is we've done that last year, pretty much at the same time, actually, last year. It was 4 business units from scratch. We didn't have any Latitude workflow, anything. We had nothing. So it was 4 business units in 6 weeks, actually 7. It was a huge challenge for us. How did we do that? Through different things. And here the first topic that I want to share with you is the project plan. And it goes along with our core value called champion the mission. Project plan. You need a project plan. You need visibility. You need to communicate with your stakeholders. You need to tell them, okay, this week we achieved that. Next week we're going to do that, and we're going to achieve this. So it's probably a basic topic or something. I say, sure, I'm going to build my project plan, but you need to have one. It's obvious probably, but you really do need to have one. But not only to have this project plan, share it with your stakeholders and communicate with them. So that's the first thing. The second thing is build a contract with them. As in Jira Service Desk, we're going to talk about categorization, which I'm going to get back to you a little bit later. We're going to talk about reporting, but building your knowledge base, building your queues, building your portal requests, building your workflows. I'm going to talk about that a little later as well. Building your automation, reporting also. Very important reporting. It's probably the last line here on this screen, but think of it. How are you going to build your return on investment? There is 2 ways to do that. First of all, your knowledge base, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But reporting, it's crucial for you. I'm going to give you one example, and Chris is going to talk about this a little bit later. For instance, talk about the help desk, or your IT help desk. And you're going to say, oh, by the way, 30% of my new hire employee, they ask me for the password for Wi-Fi. Why? That means something is broken in my process or in this process. I need to fix that. And how are you gonna get this information? This information is gonna get to you or back to you because you have reporting. So don't forget that. And this is how we are successful today, because we have those data and reporting.
And one extra step here, Laurent was talking through kind of all the information that we collect from people. One important thing we learned is have one source of truth. This contract is a giant spreadsheet that we put together. All the information's in one place, and it's kind of tabbed in the order in which we need to collect the information from our customers. When you have lots of different stakeholders, they're creating Google Docs over here, and they've got a folder over here and a box folder over here, and you never know what your source of truth is. So make sure that you have one place where your information is always stored and everyone can agree upon it. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a mess. And we learned the hard way to make sure that you kind of have that, and it kind of helps step your customers through what they need to be able to build things out.
Thank you, Chris. So yes, between your business analyst, your project manager, and your stakeholders, that's the contract you have with them. You deal with them. This is what you have to achieve. The next thing is go over and beyond. Think about your customer. Customer is not, it's obviously queues, SLAs, notification, automation, customer types, and all that kind of thing. But think also, how are you going to create your workflow with approval if you don't have any LDAP integration? How are you going to have some efficient reports if you don't have category topic items? How are you going to make your team efficient if you don't trade them as well? And think about the ecosystem that Atlassian provide. And by the way, thank you, Atlassian, for letting us talking here, because it's awesome. But this marketplace tremendously help us in terms of what we could have, or what we have achieved, actually, in terms of implementing Service Desk, Latitude, sorry. So I can give you an example. I just talked about LDAP. Natively, Latitude doesn't have any integration with LDAP, and we have one add-on that helps us to basically integrate those information from the user perspective through Latitude from LDAP. So those are the factors and criteria that we took in consideration to have Latitude successful before we start to implement Latitude itself. The next step is Latitude cannot live without a knowledge base. Like I said, it will be a huge part of your return on investment. We call it at Airbnb, actually Chris found this name and I think it's awesome, shift left, which is actually you take a part of your ticket, 15, 20, 30%, which are basically creating for your help desk, and instead of having this 30% creating from your help desk, ticket creating to your help desk, imagine that people, they are going to search and find this solution or those solutions themselves by digging into their knowledge base. And this is where you're gaining and you're basically creating the return on investment with Latitude. This knowledge base is critical in the process of implementing Latitude. So it's critical also that you have to work with your stakeholders in terms of taxonomy, labels, organizing the information, organizing the documentation to be sure when a user, a customer of Latitude will access to it, will have the right information at the right time for his right problem. Another thing, which was also very important for us that Chris and I decided was, we talked a lot about workflows before, and we say, oh yeah, sure, for that business unit it's going to be like that, for this business unit it's going to be like this, and we say, no, that doesn't make any sense. All business units should have the same workflow. The reason why is, think about, for two reasons. The first reason, think about the future. The next business unit that you're going to onboard in Latitude will have the same workflow, and you will not have basically to spend more time with them to create a new workflow. The other reason that we basically standardize the workflow is also when you move a ticket from one business unit to another business unit, you don't scratch your head or say, we are on this status, we're moving to another status, which one it should be. There is no question about that because you standardize your workflow, you standardize the process, you standardize the automation, you standardize the transition. So it's all the same for everybody. So we have different workflow for different issue type, but not 30 or 40. We have 3 today. For incident, for approval, and for regular request. So that was the before. So now what I'm going to share with you is the during, what we've done during the implementation of Jira Service Desk. So again, we're going to talk about workflow, we're going to talk about automation, we're going to talk about communication, which is extremely important as well. We're going to talk also about the knowledge base, what we've done, the service request, and the reporting. In terms of process, so what we've done, we've created, so we decided to use the Agile methodology. And within this Agile methodology, so we created a sprint of 2 weeks. It's actually a little bit more of 2 weeks. If you see what's going on here, on the top blue square, so we had a business analyst that was qualifying the requests coming on. Okay, this is the week where we have basically to create the workflow, which are the workflow, how those workflows should be created, and all that kind of thing. So the business analyst, qualify that. And then after that, the ticket lands into the sprint itself. And then the first week is development. So basically, my team was developing, the entire ticket that we're landing in the sprint, and we'll be focused on that, and we will review that, and all that kind of thing. At the end of the week, we're going to the second week. So the second week, we're handing over what has been done so far to our customer, not the VIP level, the regular stakeholder. And they were testing what we've achieved so far in our stage environment. And basically, I forgot to tell you that we have 3 levels of environment: dev to develop, stage to test for our stakeholders, and production. So the stakeholders were basically testing in the stage environment if they agree with what we achieved based on the contract that I explained to you previously in the before. Then they say, sure, okay, you can implement that. If it's not the case, then the 2 latest days of the second week of the sprint, we had a chance to modify what was not correct from the stakeholder perspective. Again, for business unit, 6 weeks. Something very important as well. So we are Airbnb, and at Airbnb, I don't know if you know us very well in terms of our founders. Our founders come from a design background, and they are very focused on not only the design, but the user experience on the Airbnb.com platform. We, as Airbnb, Chris and myself, actually Chris more than me, was like, no, we cannot provide a customer portal that looked like, think about a year ago. A year ago, we didn't have like what just Atlassian present today, with like the nice possibility of changing the banner and all that kind of thing. So we find our own way to basically integrate completely the Airbnb look and feel in our platform. It was a bit tricky. We can talk about this a little bit later if you want me to talk about that. But that was part of our success as well. We were thinking, like here it says be a host. So I'm French, and as a host, if I'm a real host, I'm going to share a bottle of wine, a piece of cheese, that kind of thing. But think about Airbnb. What we have to do, what we had to do is like, okay, how can I make my customer happy? How can I give them the best user experience ever? In that case, specifically, we had to rebrand totally Latitude, and it was fun to do. And if you have questions about that, I can answer to you.
Fun. That's one way to put it.
Self-help content. I love that. Think about this. Don't think about knowledge base, Confluence, whatever. It's a way for your customer to find a solution to your problem. Self-help content. That is a strategic part of how you need to build your Confluence part of Latitude. Because when a customer has a problem, the first thing that you want to avoid is him to create a ticket. So if you have a quality of information in your knowledge base, he will reflect on the fact that the customer will be able to search and find the information before he's going to create a ticket. And that's crucial and strategic in the process of implementing Latitude. Another part, be a host. So we are Airbnb, okay? And then we can create a very traditional knowledge base, like forgot password. And I'm sure everybody here has this problem. But now think about of your company, your own needs, your own core value, your customer, your stakeholder, what they do need. And this is what we, as a host, this is what we thought about. And you can see here, like, okay, a lot of the time we have people that are looking for conference room. So basically, we created a knowledge base for that. A lot of people are looking for a lot of people at Airbnb, they're coming with their bicycle. And we have tools at Airbnb to help them to repair and fix their bicycle. So we have also information for that. A lot of people have dogs at Airbnb because we are pet friendly. So we also have a knowledge base for that. So think about not only the regular needs that you have within a ticketing system or within Latitude, but go the extra mile, think about your culture, your company, what you can achieve through that as well. And that was also part of our success.
Yeah, just real quickly on that, you don't want people to just come to your self-help tool when something's wrong. You want them to come there when something's right. You want them to come back over and over again, and you think about what's most important to them. Laurent talked about our dog culture and about the things that are unique to us at Airbnb. And these are things that people ask each other. They ask their coworkers. They ask the people at the front desk. And this is our way of providing that virtual support to our AirFam, and that's what we call the employee base at Airbnb. So.
Thank you, Chris. So close the loop support. What we try to achieve here is that we try to put ourselves in the shoes of our regular customer, and then they search for something, and they don't find nothing. And they're basically like, okay, what am I going to do now? So we add this link, as you can see on the bottom. Hey, we're going to help you, and you can create a general request. And first of all, we're going to track it as Latitude. Secondly, it's going to be taken care by an agent at Airbnb. So we do not leave, even if a customer tries to find something, doesn't have the answer, we do not let him or her alone. We give him or her the opportunity to create a ticket that somebody at Airbnb will take care of. So this is what we call the closed-the-loop support. And this goes also with Be a Host, where basically you kind of anticipate the need of your customer and stakeholders and help them to be satisfied the maximum you can. Nested queue, always, go the extra mile. Think about, how you can help them, satisfy them. We have this add-on that help us basically not to have a linear list of queues, but like nesting queues. Think of it, they're coming from email where they have folders and subfolders and all that kind of thing. So they kind of a look of, some kind of look and feel branding, that, things like that. And this is where the nested queues helped us a lot to basically categorize, simplify the environment for all of our customers. And not only that, it helps also our agent in that case to have all those tickets qualified by, I'm going to breach the SLA, it's for that specific building, it's for that kind of ticket, or, loan a laptop, anything. You can go crazy if you want, It's up to your need, basically. But we are very, very, how can I say it, satisfied and very proud of having this add-on. Another one, be creative. This goes with embrace the adventure. So yes, we hired the Star Wars crew lately. I'm kidding. But what is TypeForm, for those of you that doesn't know that? TypeForm is a way to create tickets, not having the need to being behind your laptop. So we have iPads in some places where people can go say, okay, I need a new keyboard, and Yoda helped me, and he's going to give it to me now, and all that kind of thing. So think about the extra mile of, when your customer has a need for your help desk, or for security, or for ground control, or for, I don't know, HR, what can you do more to help them? So in that case, we have those iPads in San Francisco, obviously, but think also like, when you have an office with no people, nobody, right? It can also help. You have an iPad and you create a ticket through an iPad as well. That can also very be helpful. So again, behind that, what's happening? So you say, I need a keyboard, I need a mouse, I need to change my screen on my laptop or something else, and then you can create your ticket, and the ticket goes through Latitude, and the queues, and agent's going to take care of you, and all that kind of thing. What we've done after. So that was before, that was during, what we've done after. After, what we've done is, we've done a lot of noise. Our advice to you guys is, make noise, brand your Jira Service Desk. We call it Latitude. Not only we baptize Jira Service Desk to Latitude, but we give T-shirt for people to know that Latitude exists. We have a shortcut in our main website where you go air/latitude, and it lands directly to Latitude. We train new hire to be sure that they know that they can open ticket through Latitude. And you see this video here. We had TV everywhere at Airbnb where people, an employee can be informed, oh, that's new, we have Latitude, we can open a ticket, sure. So make noise. We had a party with cupcakes also as well. Chris bought like tons of cupcake and stickers, as you can see, and we were distributing that, in the hallway, in the atrium, we call it the atrium, at Airbnb, so we had a huge party for that. So make noise, inform your employee, inform everybody, train your new hire, have this video available, create T-shirt, whatever. What fits with you will be the best, I'm sure. Also, what we've done with Latitude is, let's say you've implemented Latitude already, and you say, okay, sure, bye, see you in 1 year. So we say, no, we will not do that. What we've done is we created a dedicated project in Jira, in that case, where our stakeholder had the opportunity to tell us, hey, Laurent, I'm opening a bug, or I'm opening an improvement because I saw that, but that doesn't fit really with my expectation. And I want a new feature, or I want to change that, or this, I didn't see that, and also my team didn't see it, so I open a bug. This queue we thought that this use should be dedicated to this address, this building, but it doesn't work really. You work for the address, but not the building. Can you please change that? So it's also following up with them, engaging them in the project, and be sure that they're gonna be satisfied all the way in, and not just because you implement and buy. And this was actually a huge factor of our success as well. So thank you so much for listening to me. And I'm going to hand over back to Chris, who's going to talk to you about what we've achieved in terms of reporting and return on investment.
Cool. Thanks a lot. So reporting to me is key. It's one of the most important things that you're going to do for your customers, for your stakeholders, for your service owners. You're trying to solve problems for your customers, but people have limited resource and time, and you want to focus your energy to get your most return for your investment. So you want to know where to focus. What is the most pain that your new hires are getting? How can you make them more productive? What are the largest ticket types that you're getting? Why is it that APAC is having such a difficult time understanding password resets? So you need to be able to get those insights to be able to make changes into your structure. And there's a quote by Peter Drucker that, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. There's another saying that's out there. It's attributed to a guy I know, and it's just because you can measure it doesn't mean you should. I've had bosses in the past, not my current boss, who's probably watching right now, has wanted everything. I want to report on everything. I want 100 reports. I want every piece of data. If you try to care about everything, you'll actually care about nothing. And you should be very focused in what you're trying to achieve. And you kind of start with your outcomes. What are we trying to solve for? What are our pain points? And then back into the solutions that you're trying to do. Do you have goals? Make sure that your metrics are actionable. We've had a couple of false starts with our reporting. Just to be honest, we used Tableau for a bit. It's a little cumbersome. We're actually looking at EasyBI right now. We had an intern that came in, spent about a month, and he's actually changing his major to become a data science major after working with us. So it's pretty promising right now. And always making sure that your data is customer focused. Every outcome should be about helping your customers. And at Airbnb, we've done a couple of things to try to improve our reporting. When you start off with your project, before you start to build anything, you need to think about your end results. What type of data do you need? What type of information do you need? Because you're going to have to capture that information up front and make sure that you have standard processes. So Laurent talked about us having a consistent workflow. So if people are doing the same thing the same way across multiple organizations, then you're going to get the same outputs of data. But there's a couple things that we've done, particularly if you're talking about SLAs. We have both a response and resolution SLA set for each of our business units. One of the things that is tricky is when you hire someone new, getting them to actually take ownership of a ticket and start working on the ticket is inconsistent. And there's usually a lot of clicks involved, and it usually takes a lot of training. And so what we did is we simplified our process by having an acknowledge button. And it does three things. It fulfills the response SLA from creation to in progress. It sets the transition from open to in progress. And it self-assigns the ticket to the individual that's taking the request. So it's kind of a no-brainer for new people that start. It's like when you get there and you're looking at your queues, hit the acknowledge ticket button, and now you've fulfilled three things. That's three things in one step. And that way our SLAs are much more consistent across the board. Second thing we've done, and to be honest, it's been a bit painful for folks that are on Jira Service Desk out of the box. There's kind of a out of the box two-tier dependency for values in one field to cascade to another. So we've got a customization plugin. I won't mention the name of the plugin, but it tends to be a little difficult for reporting because it puts things in a string. And so you have category, topic, and item in a string. we've actually built 3 custom fields in the back end that are hidden, and we set those values so that if we replace this, this customization, that this will be our kind of source of truth. But having categorization data is super important, because when we started, we knew whole numbers, like total numbers of tickets, where they were coming from. And now we need to go to that second level. What types of requests are we having? Are they incidents? Are they requests? And so that we can start to aggregate them, because what we did is we started with reporting for the business units that came on to Latitude. The second thing we want to do is to start to go back to the service owners and go, hey, networking, you guys had 400 wireless tickets last month. You had 30 WebEx tickets. You know, how can they start to improve the quality of their services? And so having that data is super important. And then thirdly is demographic data. You know, having the metadata about who your customer is, where do they work, what is their employee type? Are they full-time? Are they contingent? Do they work in APAC? Do they work in Dublin? What's their start date? We really care about new hire tickets. So we have our standard for new hires are 60 days. So the first 60 days that they're hired at Airbnb, I want to know every single ticket that they put into the help desk, every single ticket that they turn into HR, so that we can look at that data as a whole and say, how can we reduce the friction that new hires have when they come on board to make them more productive? We're IT, we're a cost center, we're spend. So we can't say, oh, we made Airbnb $20 million last year. We have to save Airbnb $20 million and make the employees that are making money for Airbnb more productive. And so we've collected lots of demographic data with a plugin called InFeed. And so we have lots of information that we use to get information about the reporters.
Sorry, Chris, but this is also, remember what I was mentioning to you on the before, this is also things that you need to think before you start your project, what kind of information you need to collect, either from LDAP or any other tool, for you to have the right report that fits your business need and your return on investment as well.
Yeah. And we have a core set of metrics that we care about: response and resolution, top ticket drivers, ping pong tickets. That's tickets that get reassigned multiple times. There's probably an assignment issue, an ownership issue, a communications issue with the customer and yourself. First call resolution. You know, we really want to make sure that the help desk can solve most of the issues without having to escalate to a more expensive tier and taking longer for the customer to get the resolution that they want. And then new hire tickets. And I kind of have a mantra when I talk to people about how we handle ticket reduction. You either need to figure out how to educate, automate, or eliminate those tickets. And just quickly, I know we've got a couple minutes. I want to let people have time for questions. We make sure that we take a look at our CSAT. We look at the data that we get back from customers. It's great to see, you know, positive responses that we get from people. But when we set out to launch Latitude, I really wanted to show our CFO return on investment. So if you're thinking about automation, where you can automatically provision services for people, looking at self-service, how you can get that tier 0 cost really down. It's $2 per ticket for a self-help ticket versus $25 per ticket at tier 1. Going to tier 2 is $75 per ticket. So do the math. If you've got a large employee base and lots of tickets, you can easily drive those numbers down with self-service. And this is an ad that we put together that ran to the entire company, just kind of showcasing who we are. That was Pumpkin, by the way.